if you've either lived it yourself or you've had a daughter or you've got a girl in your family, you'll know that it's very common for an adolescent. It usually happens earlier in girls than in boys. The adolescent growth spurt. So they will very often have a growth spurt between, in England, it's getting more and more common, like 11 and 12-year-old girls. Suddenly they're bigger than the boys. But during that phase, there's so much crazy stuff going on inside their body. The emotional stuff is just insane. I can't understand. I just can see that it's happening. There'll be lots of stuff going psychologically and sociologically with confidence and stuff. But physiologically, with their bones, they first their feet grow. So suddenly their toes, for their brain, in simplistic terms, their toes aren't where they used to be. So it will look and feel different when they go to kick a ball. Then their long bones grow, and then their feet are so much further away from their body where they used to be. So you'll see them, the shapes that they make when they're if they're doing any kind of training like squatting or lunging, it looks different. Their jumping and landing will look different. How they kick a ball will look different, and how they run will look different. So during these phases, their coordination is off. I'm not sure it's actually their coordination that's broken. It's that the executive programs that their brain has coordinated over the years no longer is accurate, because when they go to swing their hand to hit a ball, their hand is 3 inches further away from the body than it used to be. So it's just different. So they have to relearn that how to create shapes and how to coordinate their hand and their feet with their brain. This leaves them really susceptible to injury, and to joint injuries in particular, in their ankles, their shins, their knees, and very often in their backs. And what we're starting to see is in the second growth spurt, so they'll have a slightly smaller growth spurt at 14 or 15, that girls have been sat, not just girls, but teenagers are sat around so much, they're starting to get postural problems. So they're starting to get shoulder and neck issues because of being sat around and like fixing into that curved position. So you're getting the postural as well as the growth issues in those circumstances.
I want you to talk about what happens in those younger years before the growth spurt now, and why those years are so critical for proper youth athletic development, and just get into some of the things that you've done with your kids in the past.
Yeah, this is my wheelhouse really. That get below the pubescent years, where girls are equal to boys physically and physiologically, and even they can be big. If you get them at that 10 to 11-year-old age, they're very often a little bit bigger and can be a little bit stronger. So you have the advantage of them being able to compete equally, which is a wonderful thing. If you get a whole class of boys and girls that compete on an even basis, it's much easier to get a buy-in and enjoyment of whatever that physical activity or the sport you're playing is. And boy, do girls enjoy beating boys. And it's a wonderful thing, because they know at some point in their lives they're not going to be able to do it, but that is the time where they can. So you can nurture that confidence in that time. But physically, from what I'm finding in teenage boys, if they're working on their gross motor patterns, and then their fundamental movements, their squat, hinge, press, pull, push, hanging, all of the good stuff, the rotation stuff, if they're mastering their body before they've had a growth spurt, they can really refine that skill set. They also have the good stuff flying in their body as they start to grow, where they can lay a muscle in the right place at the right time onto those bones. And it's almost like you're giving them, they're getting Hollywood steroids at this point. If they've got the refined, well practiced coordination skills, and you're loading them, then they can really grow, and it fits their athletic body it creates the athletic body for the rest of their lives.